Titled this session B2B and B2C to B2Me, How Engagement Educates and Leads to Better Outcomes. I chose this somewhat cheesy title because I can never turn down an easy rhyme. I also chose it because it speaks to the personalization that makes engagement work to endear consumers to the brands that they use. I also want to focus on some of the little changes that help create that engagement, and they're all based on our understanding of our consumers. So, a little bit about me. My name is Marty Hamilton. I am the head of marketing at DataMaster for Appraisers. We're the leading data management company for residential appraisers. And it's a smallish company based in Layton, Utah. And basically, what our software does is it helps us to it gives appraisers all the data they need to get their work done faster by gathering it all from all these different places and different sources like public records and multiple listing services, and presents the data in one interface so they can apply their knowledge and get their work done quickly. Which, as you know, if you've bought a home or something like that before, appraisers can sometimes take a little bit longer than anybody would like them to. So ours helps speed up that process a little bit. And we like to say that for over 20 years, our data management software has helped appraisers get a leg up on their competition. So that's a little bit about me. We'll take a look at our website in a little bit later when I show you some of the examples that we've got. So for us, our market has changed a lot over the past few years. As you know, people have more choice now and access to information than ever before, and that's not going to change. That means there's more noise out there, more static out there than ever before. And even if you've got a superior product, it's difficult to get your signal out through that noise to those people who you want to attract, to those people that you want to show your signal to. So that's where engagement comes in. So creating experiences that engage your target audience can help you stand out from your competition. One of my favorite definitions of marketing engagement goes like this. Customer engagement describes all customer communications over the course of their life cycle to help them get the outcome they want. Successful engagement depends on sending the right messages to the right people at the right time and place to help them get to a desired outcome. So, at its most basic level, engagement is any way a visitor to your digital properties takes action on that platform as opposed to browsing passively or exiting immediately to find another source of information. So think about this as all of those ways that you interact with those brands that you love. Do you only go to their website to find information about them? Do you find articles about things you're interested in by them on other websites? Do you follow them on social media? How do you interact? How do you engage with those brands that you love? And this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Engagement looks different depending on your product and depending on who your target audience is. And the level of engagement looks different among consumers of the same product and even of those people who are within the same demographic group. So engagement takes a bit of practice. It takes a little bit of an eye toward what you're trying to do. But it's worth it in the end because you can get customers who are customers for life or who want to engage with you because you've shown them something that they love and something that they'll come back for. So the first step to maximize engagement is to understand your desired outcome. Yeah, I know our outcome is to make a sale, but what are the steps you need to take to get there? How many interactions do your customers typically need to take to get to that final step? And have you mapped out those traffic patterns that lead to conversion? Like, do you know how many touch points that you need to have with that customer in order to get them to take that final step to get that sale? And once you know those steps that your leads need to take, can you start crafting content and experiences that help them to engage with you and that make them feel like it's personal to them. And before we really get into the rest of it, I know this isn't really the fun stuff that most of us get into marketing for. It's not that creative stuff, creating ads and talking to all these people and giving presentations that people really love. This is the stuff that comes before the fun stuff. It's the foundation before you start building the home, before you get to start making those decisions about what you're going to put in the home. And for example, one of the things that informs the types of content that we create at Datamaster for different people is the number of assignments an appraiser completes each month. And we know that the number of assignments that they perform each month really helps them understand how valuable our software really is. And we also know how many assignments our current customers do each month, and we can apply that knowledge to our leads. So we can gather that information and we can let them know, if you're doing 30 or more reports per month, then Datamaster is going to save you 30 hours of time. That's almost an entire week's worth of time every month, something like that. And then we can apply that to our leads. And so we actually gather this information about our leads using surveys that we send out with our partners and information that's shared across the industry. So we know that the typical appraiser does 20 to 30 a month, and it takes about 4 to 6 hours, depending on how difficult the appraisal is, to finish one of those appraisals. So that can make a big difference. So once you know some of the characteristics that differentiate your leads, you have to keep the data somewhere it can be useful. So just to give you a little bit of a window into the appraiser life, appraisers are really just getting into the digital age right now, just starting to keep digital records of their reports. And I would advise you not to be like them. So make sure your data is available to your team and to the sales and customer support teams whenever you gather it. This just is going to help it become easier for them. It's going to help them know what to share with people who call in or people who interact with them. We keep ours in our CRM, and that way we can find the information anytime we need, or we can run reports on it. Just things that make it a little easier for everybody who needs to have that information. And you can also use your CRM or use your messaging automation platform to personalize some of that messages as well for them, so that they can feel that personalization and start feeling that engagement right away. So this next section I want to call the shallow end and the deep end. So this kind of goes along with the research that I mentioned before, but basically don't throw your leads into the deep end until they're ready. I mean, we all have funnels. We all know kind of what the steps of our funnels are. You have to create content and create engagement experiences that really appeal to a customer in that part of the funnel. Because you can have the best content ever created, and it can fall flat because you're giving somebody too much. You're throwing them in the deep end, and they don't really know where they are, and it can kind of overwhelm them. So when you're doing your research, make sure that you've separated that out and that you are creating your content and your engagement experiences to target those different sections in the funnel. And you'll see the engagement start to increase there. Another thing that I wanted to ask is, how far can you go? So a little bit of a personal story here. When I was in high school, I ran track, and specifically I ran the distance races, meaning I didn't really get on the track. I didn't get out of my seat unless the race was at least a half a mile, but usually a mile to 2 miles to 3.5 miles were the races that I did. And the longer the race was, the better I could do, because I had that endurance, and I could continue to go, and I could just go and set my internal clock and just keep pushing along. And it got to the point where I would kind of look down at the sprinters, because they'd be done in like 10 seconds and they'd sit for the rest of the meet. And the walk to the bus was usually longer than most of their events. I even had this idea that they weren't the real runners, but really I couldn't have done what they were doing much more than they could do what I was doing. Um, if you've ever tried to see me sprint, it's not pretty. Not that any running is really that pretty anyway, especially the 3,200-meter races that I was doing. But similar things can be said about content. You have to know how to balance the content you're expecting your leads to consume with the content you make available. And so at the beginning of your lead's journey, your lead can only handle a listicle maybe, or a short email, or a couple social media posts. But by the time they're ready to make a purchase, they're consuming case studies and white papers and those longer form types of content, and they're experiencing those and applying those to their lives. So you've seen the lists of content that drive engagement out there, that people say drives engagement out there, and almost every site that talks about these things has their favorite. Um, the thing that I don't love about those lists is it's not really a one size fits all solution. You have to do your research to find out what resonates with your audience and what helps them along with their journey. Not just saying, well, it's been a week, so they should be ready for a blog post, or it's been 2 weeks and they've contacted us once, so they're ready for a white paper right away. Now, I'm sure there are some cases where that's true, but by and large, you need to make sure that you're kind of pulling people along. You're kind of holding their hand to get to the next step. But one thing I will say that does transcend the type of content and the breadth of the content and the depth of the content um, is that you have to create content and create experiences constantly. Um, you have to come out with something new on a regular basis, or at least refresh the things that you've got, so that people know what to expect from you. Um, consistency is almost everything in this case, so that when people come back and expect to find something from you, they can find it and they can find something new. Otherwise, they might lose interest if they see a gap that's taken place for a few months, or if you're kind of sporadically just updating your website and things like that, and your blog posts. People don't know what to expect, so they have a hard time understanding when they can come back for more good information. So that's one of those things that I will say, even if you're not creating content for everybody, you just need to create content at a regular basis, at regular intervals. So I wanted to show you some examples of how we use engagement and how we use experiences at Data Master. So we've designed our processes to incorporate traditional marketing like trade shows and print ads with digital marketing. We also try to use different types of content on our website and different pages and on different landing pages. And this is where teaching our leads where they can find information and how they can take the next steps really comes into shape. Even the graphics we use on our site drive people to take the next step on their conversion journey. So this is what our website homepage looks like, and you'll notice a couple different things here. This is actually an animation that changes from time to time, the picture and back. But we're talking to them about learning more or taking their next step. But what I'm really proud of here is our chatbot. We use this to kind of help people understand what the next part of their journey needs to be and how to go forward. So we've got a mix of fully automated bots, or one-to-one chat, that sort of thing, based on where people are on the website. And we found that that's worked really well in terms of cutting down on the number of support calls we get, and also helping people understand what they can do when it's time to make their next decision or take their next step. Um, and and yeah, so that's one of those engagement processes that we've seen a lot of good feedback from. This next screen has a few other things that we've done. So on our front page too, underneath the screenshot that I just showed, is this video where we've got, something similar to what we've written in a video form, where we're telling people about it rather than just making them read it the whole time. We're kind of feeding them. Down here, you'll see one of our blog posts about an advisory opinion about a ruling, basically from the regulators for appraisers, and letting them know these are some new things coming your way. And this is kind of a higher level thing to get people into the funnel, because they're thinking, oh, I need to know more about this advisory opinion, so I'll go check out what this is about. And then this on the right hand side, this is an ebook that we've got talking about data and the different types of data that appraisers rely on. And that's more of a lower, further down the funnel, the bottom of the funnel kind of ebook. One of the other things that is kind of fun that I wanted to tell you about is in our trade show marketing, our traditional marketing. One of the things that we've gotten really good feedback from and really good engagement from is we have these stuffed monkeys that fly. They're called slingshot monkeys. And what we've done is we fitted them with a cape that has our number on it, has more information about Data Master on it. And at trade shows, you'll hear somebody flinging one of these monkeys across the room, across the floor, and even during some of the breakout sessions. And they kind of scream, so we know that they're happening. But you'd be surprised at the number of people we have coming up to us, even years after we use them, and saying, "Oh, you guys are the monkey guys. Tell me more about what you guys do." And it's kind of nice to see that one-on-one kind of engagement that we see from them. So yeah, those are just a few of the things that we've tried, and I'd love to know more about what those of you out there have done. So drop me a line. My Twitter handle is at Hamilton Marty. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can even email me if you'd like at marshall.hamilton@datamasterusa.com. Well, have a great day and enjoy the rest of the summit.